Hello, I'm Mark Price. I'd like to talk to you today about solving problems. But first I want to say Happy Mother's Day. Today, May 10th, 2020 is Mother's Day, and I wish all of you mothers out there a very, very happy Mother's Day. I think of my mother often, of course, on Mother's Day and on her birthday, which was May 4th, just 6 days ago. She passed away a long time ago, in 1981. But I think of her quite often because she played a huge role in helping me to acquire and to grow in my faith. And I'm sure that periodically in my reflections I will make comments about things that she did that helped me in my walk of faith, helped to form me for who I am. So anyway, I'm going to talk to you today about solving problems. There was a couple, they were driving through New York and they were on their way to a place called Patchogue, New York. And they were arguing with each other about the correct way to say the name of the town, the city, Patchogue, New York. The way it's written, it's an Indian word, it was confusing to them. And they had this argument back and forth. And finally the man said, I'll tell you what, next time we get there, when we arrive at Patchogue, which is how he said it, and she said it a different way, maybe Patchagoo, he said, I'm going to pull into the first place we see and I'm going to ask them for the correct pronunciation. So the minute they pulled into the town, he sees a fast food restaurant. He goes in with his wife and says, we're having an argument back and forth. I'm saying one thing, she's saying another. We want to know the correct pronunciation of this place. So please, very slowly, please tell us. The young girl behind the counter looked at them a little funny and said, Burger King. Solving problems. The reading, I like that. The readings today are, the first reading is from the Acts of the Apostles, the second reading is from 1 Peter, and the Gospel is from John. Now I'm going to reference all three of them, and they'd be an awful long bit to read. So I want to encourage you to read them yourself. They're very, very good readings, and you can see the references to the chapter and verses at the bottom of your screen. So, solving problems. In the first reading from Acts, we learn that the first step is to identify a problem and then bring the problem to others, have a discussion about ways to deal with the problem, and then arrive at a solution. In the first reading, the Hellenist Christians, the Greek Christians, were bothered that the Jewish Christians, the Hebrew Christians, were sort of ignoring the Hellenist widows. And they weren't making sure that their needs were met, that they had the food, that they had what they needed to protect themselves. So they brought that as a problem to the leaders of the early church. They discussed it, and they decided that they would appoint men to the role of looking after them, to care for them, make sure they had the food. Oftentimes the church looks at this particular reading as the formation reading for the diaconate. So they recognized a problem, they brought it forward, they discussed it, and they arrived at a solution. That's from the first reading. The second reading tells us why we should be able to believe that we have the ability to identify and come up with the answers. And it's because, well, let's let Simon Peter tell us in his own words.
My beloved, I am here because you are the future. It all falls to you now. We cannot live our lives again. You are a holy nation. Did you know this? You are a royal priesthood. You are a people set apart, chosen by God. Each and every one of you was individually touched and chosen by God for one purpose, and that is to proclaim the glory of His Son. So I ask this, in all that you do, remember Christ. Remember Christ.
Well, as Simon Peter said, because we're special to God. We're a holy nation set apart by God, touched by God before we were even born. That's why we should believe in our minds and hearts that we have the ability to rise above whatever the world throws at us, because we have been chosen by God for a special purpose. And then, how can we be certain that the problem that we've identified, arrived at a solution, will actually be resolved. And from the gospel, we read Jesus as he says to us, I am in the Father is in me. I am going now to be with my Father, and you pray in my name about anything, and I will answer your prayers, because you have God and me answering the prayers for you. So first we identify a problem, come up with a solution, trust that our solution is going to work, and then turn it over to Jesus through prayer and know that Jesus will answer our prayers if we but take it to him in prayer. So that's how we, I believe, solve a problem. So now real slow and simple. How do we solve a problem? Who do we go to solve a problem? Jesus. Very good. This is Mark Price. Thanks for listening.